Hey guys, my name is Tao Luong.
Hello, I'm Alex Baker.
Hey, I'm Tegan Doherty.
Hello, my name is Sam.
Hi, I'm Tori.
My name is Becca Gadio.
Hi, my name is Catherine Alley.
I'm really passionate about making sure that everyone is able to live fulfilling and productive lives, whatever that means to them.
Sex education is very important because I've seen the consequences of not having a good sex education. There are so many aspects about it that's not really discussed.
I think sex education is important because to make a change in society, you have to be a part of that change.
I do this kind of work because I want to promote healthy relationships.
And I do this work because I want to help people kind of understand the gray areas of sexual assault rather than just the extremes.
I want to make sure everyone has the information, education, and resources that they need.
Hi, good to see you there. I'm just reading up on some new words that I've learned lately. Do you know what heteronormativity means? What about asexual or non-binary? These are all words that are really important to understanding other people's sexual experiences and sexual projects, which allows us to be better sexual citizens and practice healthy relationships. If you didn't know what any of those words means, that's completely fine. Just hop on over to Sex TED Talks and I'll get to teach you more about it.
My Sex TED Talk is about knowing your own anatomy. We're going to talk about female and male anatomy. We're also going to talk about hormones and neurotransmitters that are released during sex. We're also going to talk a little bit about how to care for yourself and sexual hygiene. And we're going to talk about what STIs are and how they affect you on an anatomic basis.
Which way is the right way to execute consent? Option A.
Hi, can I have a piece of candy?
No, I'd rather keep them for myself.
Does that mean you don't like me anymore?
Okay, I guess. Here's the candy.
Option B.
Hi, can I have a piece of candy?
Yeah, for sure. Here you go.
Option C.
Hi, can I have a piece of candy?
No, I'd rather keep them for myself.
Well, I let you in my house, so I think that means that you should give me candy.
Okay, I guess. Here's the candy.
Or option D.
Hi, can I have a piece of candy?
No, I'd rather keep them for myself.
If you refuse, I'm gonna tell the whole school that you're weird.
Okay, I guess. Here's the candy.
As shown, consent is much more nuanced than just a simple yes or no, and many factors affect consent, such as sexual geography, power, and sexual projects. Make sure you come to the Sex TED Talks to learn more.
This is a condom, specifically an external condom, or the kind that goes on a penis. I'm sure that a lot of you have seen or heard of these things before, either before college or maybe when you were handed way too many of them at the beginning of your freshman year here. External condoms are a super common and practical contraceptive option, and they work pretty well at preventing unwanted pregnancy and STIs. Bonus points if they already come all lubed up. However, did you know that there are a ton of different ways to protect yourself and your partner while having sex, other than this slimy, stretchy sock? For example, there are also internal condoms, or the kind that go inside a vagina. There are also things that block the cervix, such as diaphragms or sponges. Or you could use birth control pills, the patch, or an IUD. All of these things act as contraceptives. However, it's also important to look for things that protect against STIs and not just unwanted pregnancy. For example, we have things like gloves, dental dams, and more external condoms, except these ones are rainbow. If you haven't heard of some of the things that I've been talking about, don't worry. There's a lot to learn about safe sex, and that's what me and all of your other Dare to Care peer educators are here for. I'll be talking about all the different ways that you can have safe and fun sex at Dare to Care's Sex TED Talks, which will be happening very soon here on campus. So I hope to see you there, and yes, you will probably go home with even more condoms.
Setting boundaries is super important with your roommates, friends, family, work, life, really everything. Setting boundaries is also a super important part of sex and sexual relationships. Knowing your own boundaries, how to set them, how to communicate them, how to enforce them, and how to respect other people's boundaries is a critical part in making sure you have a happy, safe, and fulfilling sex life.
I'm going to be covering identities and kind of how they interact with relationships and sex. So I'm mostly going to be touching on things like how sex and relationships can be used to explore your own identity, and this includes asexual and aromantic identities as well, and kind of how gender dysphoria can interact with relationships and sex, and how to approach and talk about these sensitive topics in a respectful way. I hope I'm going to be able to give you some good information, and make sure you keep in mind that this isn't just for people with these identities, it's for everyone, especially those who may be questioning or have partners with one or more of these identities.
Sex and pleasure. How do we feel comfortable but also explore what we like in a safe way? And how do we have those discussions with our partners? So we're going to just talk more about how do we feel comfortable in our own bodies and how do we explore these things. And so that includes personal research before you try anything. We're going to learn how to do that. We're going to talk about sex toys, and how do we have discussions with our partner or partners. We're going to talk about STDs and STIs and how it's not the end of the world if you have one. We're going to talk about how you can still have sex after reassignment surgery. And we're going to talk about the different types of orgasms that are out there. And so there's so much to this topic that's never really discussed, and it's the key to having good and healthy sex that is good for you and your partners, that make you both comfortable.
You're never too young or old to learn about sex ed, so everyone's invited to Sex TED Talks, no matter what level of background experience you might have. This is a great opportunity to learn more about identity, safe sex, boundaries, consent, and terminology, as well as just becoming a better sexual citizen and helping to build a culture of respect at Knox. Hope to see you there!